All right, welcome back. We are going to do this exit ticket from 4.2. It says show how to solve the formula for finding the area of a triangle. This is like super tiny. Let me fix. There it goes. For this triangle, the second question is describe how you can possibly how you can use possible units associated with each of the variables in this equation to guide your thinking about solving this literal equation. Literal just means like it has a bunch of variables in it. For example, if B and H are measured in inches, what are the units on A? After solving for H, do the units for A and H still make sense in this new expression? So what we're going to do first is we're going to solve the part A. And as we're solving part A, I'm going to kind of like leave a little bit of room so I can go back and talk about part B. So I'm going to scooch this over a tad. So it says solve this for H. So whenever it says solve for H, and this is something that I had to get used to as a student, I didn't understand what they were asking. So they're asking you so that down here, our answer has H by itself. So right now it has A by itself, but down here, my answer wants H by itself. So solve for H means H is by himself. So there's a lot of different ways we've talked about doing this. You all like when we talk about what happens first to H, next, and then we go reverse and inverse order. So the first thing that I see that happens to H is multiplication, and it's being multiplied by B. Okay, so that's going to be something that I'm going to use to get rid of B. And then the second thing that I see is that I see that it's being divided by 2. And then that's pretty much all that's happening to H. In reality, I could take these two and combine them together because multiplying and division happen at the same time from left to right. So here they're all in they're all in one term. So we could do these things at the same time. Okay, so but because I wrote this order, I'm going to go with this order. So when you're solving, you take the order that you PEMDASed it and you go in reverse order and you SADMAP it. So we're going to start with the last thing. So the first shall be last and the last shall be first applies here, right? And then you're also going to inverse it, meaning you're going to undo it. So I'm going to take care of this guy first and I'm going to inverse him. So how do you get rid of dividing by 2? You guys are like, oh, multiply by 2. And the reason why we multiply by 2 is because 2 divided by 2, there's going to be a 2 here. It's going to be here one day. It's going to be here today, maybe tomorrow, hopefully. Boom. It's not. I don't know what's happening. All right, pretend there's a 2 there. But 2 divided by 2 is the number 1. 2 divided by 2 is 1. Hold on, let me... of course. All right, so 2 divided by 2 is 1. So now this thing, you can kind of see it as a 1. So here, this is now a 1. So what's left over is B times H on the right-hand side and 2A on the left-hand side. Remember that 2 times A and 2A means the same thing. I can write it. If it makes it better for you to write a little times, the little dot symbol in there, do it. If not, just write it as 2A. So you should see BH as being multiplied by B. And so because I took care of this guy, now I'm going to take care of this guy. So this, how do you get rid of multiply by B? How do you undo multiplication by B? Well, I divide by B. So I'm going to divide by B, and there's my answer. So B divided by B, again, is just the number 1. So I will draw a number 1 right here because that would look like a 1. So this is 1 times H. So my answer is H, and I'm going to write that right below. And so I get H is equal to 2A over B. 2A over B. And as soon as this guy shows up, oh, there it goes. So 2A over B. Some of you don't like how this is written because you have the H on the right-hand side. And so I just talk about like how this is like how Yoda talks, and you can still understand what Yoda's saying, right? Bathroom have to go I. You still understand what he's saying. It's just, it sounds backwards to you. But in reality, in mathematics, it's the same. Like this is saying like, my name is Miss Johnson, and saying it this way. So this is my name is Miss Johnson, and this one would say Miss Johnson is my name. See how they value-wise. Value-wise, those two statements are equivalent. So please get comfortable in seeing things like this, because if if you're only comfortable in seeing like this, I can definitely see where you might have problems down the road. Okay, so this is the answer. H is equal to 2a over h. Because this is the redemption chapter, I would definitely encourage you to plug it in. I am not going to plug it in right now so I can answer this other question. So now it says, how can you use units to solve this? Like, pretend that B and H are measured in inches. What are the units of A? So up here, if I start throwing in inches here, so I'm going to put little inches in this pink color. So inches here, inches here. Inches times inches means inches squared. Ms. Johnson, you can multiply units like that? Yeah. Yes, you can. So inches times inches is inches squared. Hold on a second. Are you going to? It's not. Pretend. Oh, there. So inches times inches is inches squared, right? And that makes sense because that's how we measure area. When you're measuring area, you're thinking about tiny little post-its, an inch by an inch square, and you're covering that area, right? So then they say, what are they asking? Describe how you can use possible units associated with each of the variables in this equation to guide your thinking about solving this. So let's just keep putting these units next to those variables to see if it still makes sense. It says, after solving, does it still make sense in the new expression? So this is inches squared. This is inches. Sorry, we're squeezing things in here. And this is inches, and this is inches. Okay, can I ask a question? Would B inches divided by B inches still equal to 1? And the answer is yes, right? So a problem, if you're wondering, like, how does that work? So let's say you have, I don't know, 15 inches of ribbon, and you're making little bows for, I don't know, the second grade class. And each bow takes 3 inches. So inches divided by inches would be the number of bows, right? Inches divided by inches essentially cancel. So again, if you haven't known that, now you do. And units do cancel, or units do divide out, if you want to say it like that. So now what's left over here? So inches went away, inches went away. H is just left with inches, right? A is still inches squared. B is inches. Now, what's inches squared divided by inches? What's inches squared divided by inches? So they're asking, what's x squared divided by x? That's what they're really asking. What's x squared divided by x? And the answer is just x, right? This is just x. So the answer down here is inches. So H is measured in inches. So we're good here. We're good here. There's all the places that we're good in. Oh, this is supposed to be a B. I'm going to change this to a B. There you go. So this is supposed to be a B right here. There you go. So there's your answer. Use your units. I, as a student, would forget about my units, and then I get an answer and I didn't know what I was actually measuring. Was I measuring inches squared, inches? So it's obvious if you read the question and you're like, oh, I'm measuring H. H is a height. It's a linear measurement, so it should be measured in inches. But it's nice because your units will confirm your answer. So the answer is, yeah, it should still make sense, right? All right. Thanks for listening.